Hi, everyone. I'm Kim Maiolo, APC's Director of Communications and Member Outreach. This morning, we welcome Dan Giles with HDR Engineering, as well as Mark Chappell and Alan Melly with PennDOT, who are going to give a presentation on digital delivery. Before I hand it off to them to begin, I'd like to remind you that you can submit your questions throughout the presentation into the Q&A function on your screen, and our presenters will do their best to get to them at the very end. If you see a question that's submitted and you'd like to hear more about that question, please upvote it, and then I'll bump it up to the top of the list. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Alan to begin.
All right, thank you, Kim. Again, my name is Alan Melly, and I am one of PennDOT's leads for the Digital Delivery Directive 2025. Today, we're going to cover basically what digital delivery is, what we've accomplished to date, and where we're going. So first, what is digital delivery? Digital delivery is really that building of deliverables that is both human consumption and computer consumption that we can create for the Digital Delivery Directive. So to get into really the meat of digital delivery, it's the use of digital data to deliver projects. So we're going to transfer all of the relevant information that we have that we're creating in design currently from design to construction back to asset management. Currently, whenever we design a lot of our projects, we break them down into 2D plan sheets and break that information transfer. So with this initiative, we're going to continue that transfer to the complete life cycle of the project. So again, creating it in design, getting it to construction, and getting that asset management information back to the department after it's constructed. So with this, it'll offer us a new way to view and understand the project and design. So we'll be able to look at these models, the bridge and roadway all together and see how they interact. You'll be able to see the ditches, the swales, the pipes, everything in that single model as we move forward. And a big portion of this is going to be getting that as-built information back from construction into our asset management systems. This way, we'll be able to track all of our assets. We are good at tracking pavement and bridges, but all of our other ancillary assets, we're not so good at this point. With this directive, we will be able to track all the way down to the paint lines or delineators as we move forward. So some of the benefits of digital delivery is going to be improved design quality. That is going to be where we are spending more time on detailed design. So with the detailed design, it's going to help us reduce that risk in project cost moving forward. This overall initiative won't necessarily save us overall time on the project, but it's where that time is spent in that detailed design. Since we're not going to have to break it down into the 2D plan sheets and detail those sheets out, it will improve our design quality and reduce the risk in project cost moving forward. So we're also going to be able to increase construction efficiency, build upon PennDOT's nation-leading effort in e-construction. The contractors and inspectors will be able to click on an item, be able to tell exactly where it is, where it starts, stops, quantity, any information in that model will be attached to that item. You can get your RC standards, any pictures, a lot of information will be attached within these models. So again, our big one is improved as-built records. We'll be able to bring that information back. What type of guide rail, what type of paint line was actually placed on the road. And then the department will eventually build out what we classify as like a digital twin. That digital twin will be in a model of our entire network as we move forward. So PennDOT's vision. So by 2025, construction projects will have the ability to be bid using 3D technology and no longer only be in a traditional construction plan format. This will include our also plans, such as the traffic control plan, E&S plans, but we realize there will be some projects that don't lend themselves to necessarily being bid or designed in 3D. These projects will still be designed with the digital delivery in mind. Again, transferring that digital data from design to construction back to asset management. In order to accomplish this vision, PennDOT has contracted with a group of consulting firms, as you can see here, and worked with our stakeholders in order to develop this overall plan. So right now we are in the closing phase of phase one, our planning. So we went through a stakeholder coordination effort where we broke the state down into 4 different regions, reached out to each of the districts within that region, provide subject matter experts, along with our partners from APC, ACEC, Federal Highways, Pennsylvania Turnpike, brought all of those together to determine what's working, what's not working. How do you see this playing into your everyday jobs? So we brought a group of subject matter experts, or our district champions, back into a strategic planning development meeting and come up with the strategic plan. That plan is currently in the review process with our executive management and should be distributed to the general public here by the end of November. So we're going to go into phase 2, which is a bulk of this initiative. In this phase, that's where we're going to get into pilot projects, which Dan will touch on here momentarily. But we're going to get into looking at all of our processes, procedures, not only in design, in the CAD realm, but also in construction. What's working, what's not working. We're going to be looking at various aspects to pilot. We're not going to flip a switch and have this all of a sudden be a digital project. We are going to take bits and pieces at a time to accomplish this and implement as we go. So by the time we hit phase 3 in 2024, 2025, we are finalizing those departments' policies, procedures, and standards to give us the ability to let this full digital plan to the construction community. So to get into the pilot projects and more detail in phase 2, I'm going to turn it over to Dan Giles.
Thanks, Alan. So we're now more than 3/4 of the way through 2020. And up to this point, as Alan indicated, we've used our time to engage with a number of stakeholders and really develop the strategic plan. The strategic plan includes a number of quick start tasks, which can be developed quickly and put into use right away. Some of those items include, quick start tasks include like a glossary of terms, procurement language, metrics to measure the progress of digital delivery implementation, as well as a feedback form to capture lessons learned. The strategic plan really created a high-level overview of the whole implementation of digital delivery and a detailed work plan for 2021, which became that basis for our scope of work for the next work order. The focus of the pilot projects is the rollout of digital delivery workflows in a manner that allows PennDOT districts to build the new technology progressively into their process over the life of the project. The goal would be to have pilots across all of the districts each year that would incorporate digital delivery workflows. And once completed, the results of these pilots will be evaluated by the Digital Delivery Directive 2025 Governance Committee and rolled out to all of the districts if they're found to be successful. As Alan said, these pilots will be pieces of the process. And as we find success, we'll implement these pieces moving forward towards a full implementation by 2025. We're not going to wait until 2025 to just flip the switch on everything. So every year we plan on piloting a project in each phase of the process, whether that's design to construction, or construction to asset management. The first year of pilots will focus on those that have a low barrier to entry and assist in moving the districts forward in the digital delivery process without compromising project schedules. Pilots anticipated for 2021 include things like setting and using a BIM execution plan template, which describes how modeling will be achieved. Also, use of a model review checklist to determine the current quality of supplemental digital files that are being delivered to contractors as reference information. Setting requirements for receiving as-built records for projects for things such as guide rail, as well as developing a single project PDF to replace the individual plan sheets that we currently have. And that's something we kind of anticipate towards the latter part of 2021. As well as creating a concept 3D model using Concept Station that would support the planning and NEPA process, similar to what you see on the screen here now. Critical items that need to be addressed during the 2020-2021 development that will create the basis for everything we build on include things such as evaluating open roads designer and open bridge designer. We really need to know where we are in the transition from V8I to ORD. And we need to make sure that users understand how to make models, and maybe just as importantly, why we're making models. We also need to look at consistency statewide with things like file naming, so that no matter who you get a file from, you're really going to know what you're getting ultimately, as well as consistency with cells and levels, or consistency with 3D items. For example, if you get a modeled inlet box from District 6, it's going to be the same as one that you would see coming from a model from District 1. We really need to get everyone on the same page from a consistency standpoint. And a good analogy is, right now, if you took two construction plans, 2D construction plans, and put them side by side, they look pretty much the same. But I think if you were to open the CAD files that produced each of those individual plans and looked at things, there's probably a pretty good chance that there's going to be, not everything is going to look the same. There's going to be a lot of differences. So that's really what we're going for, as well as developing standardized workflows as well. Another thing that we're intending to do is to have an APC summit with contractors, likely sometime during this upcoming construction off season, and use that time to discuss what the contracting community is looking for in our models, and have a better understanding of how contractors are utilizing the data, so that we can make sure that the design community is providing contractors with the information that you need. It's really critical that we have your help long-term with this initiative, as well as determining tools that are currently available and what additional tools that may be needed to accomplish our goals long-term. So, as I'd indicated previously, the detailed work plan for 2021 really is the basis for our next work order. The types of work that initially are going to happen include things like developing process maps and implementation of new processes in design, as well as the pilot projects. It's really important to remember that these activities will happen for each specific defined use case. The main one for 2021 will be roadway design. But for construction, we'll need to review PennDOT specifications to make sure that we're not unnecessarily restricting contractors in how they use digital information and digital models. There will also be some programmatic tasks, such as ongoing stakeholder engagement, and working with our partners to review statutes and policies that might impede digital delivery implementation. So by the end of 2021, we anticipate that we'll have started roadway design pilot projects and with the new digital delivery procedures, that will have also done some other pilot projects that will have developed the information requirements for what will ultimately have to be provided in digital as-built records, that will have started to create new publications for roadway designers, and that will really have developed our detailed plan for the next year moving forward for 2022. Our plans for the future years are certainly a little less well-defined. And in essence, we'll be advancing each defined use case through the Agile process. For the more mature use cases like roadway design, they'll be widely piloted and updated draft publications will be available. For the less mature use cases like bridge design, we'll have started some small pilots and begun to build out the information requirements as well. So by the end of 2022, we should have some reporting on progress and outcomes for the changes we've made to date, have some reference documents on how digital delivery relates to specific use cases, since it will be different for different disciplines and different project types, as well as having developed our detailed plan for 2023. Again, for 2023, we don't have any specifics yet. We'll continue advancing each use case through the Agile process. We'll have checked the box pretty much on roadway design authoring, and we'll be updating the publications for visualization for planning. We'll be piloting bridge and drainage design, which will give us some data sets to start piloting 3D coordination and creating model-based processes for engineers' estimates. And by the end of 2023, we should have a lot of reporting on progress and outcomes for a wide range of the changes, as well as having draft documents for a lot of the processes that create the digital information and a detailed plan for 2024. So 2024 is the last year of consultant support. This year will be focused on updating the publications, but we'll still have the more advanced use cases like model-based engineers' estimates being piloted at the same time. There'll be time spent transitioning from consultant support to PennDOT taking on the continued development of digital delivery. We're building our digital delivery solution around information requirements that are durable. Ultimately, we're still building and maintaining the same assets, and we need the same type of information to make decisions. That doesn't really change, but the software is always going to be changing, and new tools will be emerging. So by 2025, there'll probably be a major update to the design software that will need to be planned for. There'll be a whole range of new construction software tools, and we really should start to see the industry foundation classes, IFC, open data, becoming widely supported by software products. We'll need to update training plans and workflows as we start to replace proprietary information with the IFC standard. And PennDOT's going to need to work closely with consultants and contractors, as well as their suppliers, to develop a plan to transition when that IFC information becomes contractual. As with most things, there's a lag through the supply chain before all the suppliers will switch to the newer software versions that support the IFC standard. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mark Chappell to touch on the keys to success for the initiative. Mark?
Thanks, Dan. So what are our keys to successes? Our keys to successes, believe it or not, aren't related to software or even hardware. Our keys to success is managing the people, everyone here, all of us. We need to manage our pace of change. We can't go too fast and blow by people and leave people behind. We can't go too slow if we're not showing any progress. So we need to do it in bits and pieces, like Ellen and Dan alluded to, is by doing these small workflows on some low risk, low value pilot projects to start off and start doing some workflows and starting putting the processes in piece by piece, and celebrating our successes and learning from our successes, and show our progress by incorporating these successes as we go along. But also, we realize we are going to have some failures, and we are going to have some things that aren't going to work, and some things just might not work. So we need to have that contingency plans in place to empower our project teams and give them like a safe space that, yes, we are going to do this. We are going to move forward. We're going to move forward at a pace that works for us. We're going to do this, but there are going to be situations where things just might not work. So we may have to put some things in place to replace a project down the line, or to do it a different way, or fall back and do something different if we find out that something isn't working for us to keep things moving. So we do realize that needs to be in place, and we will do that. While we're also going to have a website up and running that people can go for frequently asked questions. They can see where we're doing and what we're doing and how we're doing it, and see what the pilot projects are and what was successful, and actually they'll even see what failed and what we learned from what we failed. So the biggest thing is, as we go through, is it is everyone working together. It's all of us. It's the department. it's our consultants, it's our contractors, it's our suppliers, it's all of our stakeholders, all working together to come to this common goal of how we want to do this and where we want to go. If we all work together, we all do this as a team, and we all, keep open minds and go through this and learn from it and keep moving and keep forwarding, we can and we will get there in 2025. With that, I'd open it up for any questions.
Thank you all for your presentation today. We'll now be taking live questions from our attendees. As previously mentioned, if you type your questions in the Q&A function on your screen, we'll do our best to get to them. And if you see a question that's already been submitted and you're interested in hearing more about, and you can go ahead and upvote the question and it'll go up to the top of our list. Thank you.